Okay, welcome back, everybody. It's Kari. I am back with another special guest as part of this Burn It Down, Burn to Build interview series I've been doing with people who started over again. There's my guest right now, so we're going to see if we can figure out how to get into the room here. So, Wendy, there should be a button at the bottom that says request to join, and we'll get you in here. We'll get started. I've just been having so much fun with this interview series, though, hearing people's stories of where they started and the journeys that they've been on and what they've been through. And it's been so inspirational for me. And I am so happy to have people Wendy in here in just a moment. Here. There we go. Okay. Hi, Wendy.
Hello, Kari. Good morning.
Good morning. We figured it out.
Hashtag everything.
It's figure out exactly. I'll tell you what, the first time I did it, I had no idea what I was doing, and people kept asking me how to join, and I said, I don't know, just we'll both just show up and see what it looks like. So,
Oh my gosh, I love your spirit. That's awesome.
well, thank you for being willing to go along with that there, and thanks again for agreeing to be a guest here and to share your story. So, can you first just introduce yourself? Let us know who we're talking to.
I would love to. Thank you, Kari. My name is Wendy Rimmelsbacher, and I know that last name is quite a long last name, but yeah, you just say it, Rimmelsbacher. And I am a recent retiree, early retiree, after 30 years as an executive director of finance in a public school district, in the same school district for 30 years. um, so yeah, that kind of sets the stage for, talking about burnout and life transitioning and all the good things that come from just taking a leap of faith and following your passion. And so that's what I'm in the middle of doing. Actually, I started it a few years before my 30 years came up, and the pandemic hit and everything just went chaotic. And it just seemed like the right time to make a big life change.
Yeah, of course. Awesome. Well, first of all, congratulations on retirement because that's quite an accomplishment. I know people of my generation aren't even thinking about retirement. So, um, but that is awesome. I love that you said, okay, the pandemic, everything was chaotic. So what better time to start something new? That's amazing, amazing attitude. So tell us then, what journey did you decide to take in retirement here?
Well, and I call it retirement just because I'm eligible, like it's frozen because I'm 30 years in. But I'm a busy person. I like to stay busy, and so I look at it as rewiring. I'm just rewiring. And so the story unfolds like maybe 6 years before I hit my 30 years. I got a nudge from a colleague that said, I'm getting off this professional board and I think you would be a good fit. And it was one of those real moments where I can look back on it now and realize that that was the nudge I needed to evolve. And so I'm really focused on that word evolve lately. It just seems like people don't realize that you need to keep infusing new things into your life to just to bring you some droppiness and keep your brain going and not get to that autopilot where you start suffering burnout and you don't even realize you're on that track. And
That
it's not a good track.
That's amazing. That is amazing. And anybody listening, I would say hi to the folks who are joining us here. But I love that you said that. It's a continuous and evolving because like life doesn't stop. You have to keep living it. So I love that so much right off the bat. Um, can you tell us though, before we really get into the journey, how were you feeling before then? You know, you said you were working in the same school district for 30 years and you keep mentioning burnouts. Can you just tell us a little bit about that pre-stage that you were in?
Yes. And I will preface it with I loved my career. I loved what I did. And the people were amazing. However, it just, and I use that word burnout lightly. I wish there were a better word. I'm not, I don't resonate with it, but it did come upon me. And so what I realized was that I was so stressed out because I had a commitment to, one, I got a degree in accounting, I passed the CPA exam. I had a lot invested in my career, and I felt like abandoning it wasn't the right thing. Like I'm a stick to it kind of a gal. And to my demise, I didn't realize I had the freedom to use that as a tool and still catapult myself into a different direction. So I stuck with that, and I started feeling, well, I didn't sleep well at night. I couldn't go to sleep. I couldn't stay asleep. I'd wake up in a panic thinking about all the things that I have to get done, deadlines. And, when you're in charge of payroll and the laws keep changing on taxes and insurance and all the things, there's just so much responsibility to make sure not one thing falls through the net. You don't have the luxury of just looking at, oh, I'm just going to push that down a month. You can't even push it back a month. And so I wasn't sleeping well. My stomach, I had a lot of stomach issues, and I went to it. And the signs are all there, right? And we just keep persevering through it, thinking we're going to be, superhero about it. And that's really not the right approach. And I can see that now, but yeah, I just stuck with it. And I mean, all my family and friends and people I work with knew that something needed to happen to help me, and nobody knew how to help me. And that's not it. We have to help ourselves.
Right. Oh my gosh. You know what? You're speaking here, and it's like, yes, me too, right? Our bodies tell us so much, and our brains just say, nope, push through. You've gone this far, you have this degree, you've done this. Oh, that's not a big deal. This is normal stress. And how often do we just ignore ourselves? So I'm so glad to hear that you said that, and that message for people to really don't ignore what's going on with you, and listen to your friends and family if they're kind of waving red flags at you. So I love that. Okay. So then take us to the next step. So what did you do then?
So I alluded to it that I had a colleague that invited me to step into this. It was an association, nonprofit, that supports all school finance people. Like they train, well, they don't train them, but they offer trainings to keep you current in your job so you can be successful. And I had gone to these conferences every year, yeah, and had taken from this organization. And I was invited to be a board member. And boy, I had all the butterflies, like, I'm not good enough. There's certainly other people better. How can I take on something more when I'm in a full job that I'm struggling to keep on top of? But something inside me, I recognized that butterflies and the sweaty palms were all messages. They were signs saying, go forward, keep going, Wendy. And so I accepted that challenge. And when I did, that's when I realized that saying yes to things and adding new things into your life brings more energy to your body, more positive energy. And I started showing up. I mean, I always got out of bed and got to work and was happy to be there, somewhat happy some days. But I would show up a different version of myself because I was now engaged in another group of people that were like me. They were accountants, and we had different conversations. I was leveling up, I was evolving, and that brought me so much energy that I was then looking at my career in a different light. And I would have never thought that giving back to other people was going to bring me that much happiness. I thought I was in the mode of more giving, and actually by taking those steps, I started just feeling like Wendy 2.0. I was starting to figure out who I was again.
I love that. I love that so much. And, again, for people listening to this, I love too that you said you tried this new thing and you got this new burst of energy from that. And you were like, wait a minute, I can feel energized by doing like something that I've never done before, that this is a possibility. There's stuff out there that does make me feel excited. So, yes, everybody who's doubting or questioning, give it a try because those things are out there, right?
Right. Well, it's
Cool.
so interesting to me that when you think about as a child going through school, you're pushed into trying new things all the time, right? There's soccer, there's dance, there's cheer class, there's football, there's baseball, there's art, there's writing. I mean, you're
Mhm.
constantly pushed, and you just go which direction you're pushed, right? And then you hit your 20s and you get, maybe you get a career, you get a job, and
Mhm.
all of a sudden you stop exploring things.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yep.
so it just really has hit me the more I look back on and connect the dots that we should still be signing up for creative writing classes or acting or whatever, just trying something and see what fits. It's trying on
Love that.
costumes.
I love that. And that's such a great point for people because I hear people too, they're afraid all the time. When you want to start over, you're afraid of things. And in my experience, it's because we forget that when we were young, everything was new and we tried so many new things. We had so many opportunities and, it's just not there in adulthood the same way. And I really love that you said that, though, that it's like just a reminder that in our youth, yeah, it's all there. And then we grow up and we think that growing up means cutting all of that out, maybe.
Yeah, and being on somewhat autopilot. I mean,
Yeah.
we're still learning all the time, right, in our jobs and the normal things we do, but we're not infusing new things
Yeah.
um,
Oh,
in this.
so you've decided to take on this new role, this new challenge for you. You're energized. So what was this, I guess, where are you at in your journey now and how are you feeling? Yeah.
Okay, so the finish to this transition was that when you were a board member, you were expected to present at these conferences, these annual conferences that had about 750 people at the conferences. And being the perfectionist that I can be, I decided I had to enroll in a class to learn how to do the speaking, do the public speaking. And I realized it was that connection of being in that environment with other women that were wanted to be speakers that I really realized I started to just nurture this passion that was in me that I did not know was in me, to speak and to affect other women that were just feeling this autopilot burnout in their life, and or maybe just not having a clear direction on where to go and how to discover, how do
Mhm.
I figure out what my passion is. I just feel like I have something to bring to the table now, having gone through what I've gone through. And so I launched a speaking career before I let go of my prior job as a executive director of finance, and I just dabbled in it. So now I am a speaker, and I do speak to all kinds of groups, but my niche and what I really love to do is to get in the room with women and help them realize that they can take steps into their full potential and purpose so they can live a more joyful, confident life.
Ah, amazing. I love that. I love that. So good. Yeah, so I do want to ask though, because you're speaking very positively, but I always like to ask, what kind of challenges did you face along the way when you made this transition to try something new? What was there for you in that moment?
Oh my gosh, there's so much learning. There's so many obstacles, but you just have to persevere through them. And what I realize is there are so many people who, with these expertise that I lack. And when you reach out to people, it's really all about connecting with others. And the best way to really puff somebody up or make them feel important, make them feel good about themselves, is to ask them to help you and to share their expertise,
Oh,
because those people also are feeling out of their element in different ways. And once they feel like, oh, that's easy, this is something I can feel comfortable about, I would love to help you. And
wow,
so
that is amazing. That is amazing insight. Oh my gosh, you could not be more right on that. When somebody asks you for help and you go, I can do that. That's amazing. I love that. And really, again, for anybody who's thinking of trying something new, Wendy, your experience is mine as well in terms of finding that people really want to help you and finding that community. Would you say that that's been what I think I heard you say though, right? Is that there are people who are willing to step up and say, "Let me help you, I'll help and you help
yeah,
me," and just
yes, there's so much of that. And I guess because of the pandemic, there's such a great resource, whether it's a Facebook group or Instagram. It's just, listen to podcasting, and there's so much out there. And I have done it all. And just, a caution to throw out there is that sometimes we can just keep learning and learning and not take action. It's important to do some learning and then try it out, because messy done is better than trying to be a perfectionist. I know, because I am that person that could keep spinning and studying it until and not take the steps. But I am committed to taking action.
awesome. So what would you tell people though? How do you get yourself to move into action?
I just think I've become this junkie on achieving and walking through fear. Like, oh, there's fear over there. I think I'm going to try that now. It's
Oh,
crazy. You feel so good when you've overcome something that was scary. I don't know. You've just got to start taking steps and do it. Maybe have an accountability partner that just checks in with you, that you check in with each other weekly or whatever your time frame is, and just help each other and say, hey, what did you get done last week? And that might be the push you need to take steps.
oh my gosh. I can't I love that so much. So, hey, there's fear over there. I'm going to go do that. I love that so much.
Oh,
That's
it's a little
amazing. I think
crazy.
the more people we can get with that mindset and that attitude, oh, it's just so good because when you pursue these things, what are you finding when you do these things?
I find that there's a whole world of people out there that did it for their first time as well, and they're just cheering you on that you took steps and joined them. Um, yeah, and I think that's the biggest piece for people, is that finding your group of people that will cheer you on and push you forward instead of holding you back. I think that's the biggest part of being human and trying to find some joy in your life, is just looking at your surroundings and who your circle of friends are. And sometimes you're ready for a new friend that will really help you step up.
That is so true, is so true. Oh my gosh. So you are just, I'm like, this is too much information to share it with people in one conversation. Are you all taking notes? This is so good. So you've decided to pursue this new speaking career after 30 years an executive director doing accounting, and you've decided to pursue this. Can you tell us where you are now and how you feel about your life now compared to where you were when you first started this transition journey?
Oh, okay, that's a great question. Where I am right now is I've been taking some online classes that still are pushing me into new areas that I don't know much about. So continually learning, and also just figuring out ways to connect with women groups, conferences, and to apply for speaking jobs. And that's the hard, to me, that's the hard part. All of the technical pieces they're very hard, they're very difficult, and they can cause some anxiety, but really just getting your name out there and getting people to trust you, that you can do a nice job for their audience and their members. I am just really seeking those kinds of connections for being able to find the speaking events. And that can be a little daunting, and they're so far out there. It's planning several months ahead.
Right.
And anyway, that's kind of where I'm at, is just now trying to figure out if there's some tricks to the trade on finding the right events.
Right, of course. And even though you said it's kind of daunting, how do you feel about kind of just the way that you're showing up now versus before then?
Oh, okay. I misunderstood the question. Yeah,
No, that's good too. I'm glad to hear that you were saying though what you're doing and how you're feeling in that, because it's a good point to make that, like, yeah, as you said, it's kind of daunting and you are learning things that you've never done before. So I think that's a great reminder for people. But even in that new learning space, how are you feeling?
I feel fantastic. I am just loving it. I'm not on autopilot anymore at all. And I'm meeting so many really amazing people, just like yourself, like Kari. This is just amazing that we're connecting here today. I love meeting new people. I love having new friends. And I just have so much more energy. I'm just more me. I played such a heaviness in my prior life and huge responsibilities, and I feel like I just get to be me now, and it feels fantastic.
So good. I see a prior guest has joined. Can you give us some love to show if you had a similar experience? Because I remember hearing that repeated. But what you're saying again is that you feel energized and alive and excited. And I love hearing that because I think it's such a good reminder to people that that is possible.
Yes, it is so possible. And it's just, when you're going in the right direction because your body will tell you so. And you said something earlier about the brain just overthinking and shutting you down a bit. And sometimes you need to not listen to your brain, right? Your body will tell you that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the things I talk about a lot is that we can't trust our brains, because if we're burned out, then our brain has guided us. It's misguided us. And that's an
Yeah.
entire, I don't want to steal this from you, but it's such a good message here. So I want to ask you then, if there's one thing that you would like our listeners to hear and to take away, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that add something to your plate, that explore some venue of new activity that you are slightly interested in, whether, and you can check it out with your local colleges. They have night classes. There's some writers guilds. There's some local, maybe you have a civic theater. There's just so many opportunities. Maybe it's just starting to go for walks and listening to podcasts. Do something different today. Pick one thing and just see how it makes you feel. See if you have something more exciting to talk about. If you just feel lighter because you've been around somebody, listen to somebody that has so much excitement in what they're doing, and see if it could be contagious for you.
That's so good. Such a good call to action for people to go try something new and see how it makes you feel. It's such a good reminder that we need to continue to do that. As you said earlier, constantly evolving and trying new things and just seeing who we are as people and not settling into that kind of repetitive sort of nature that we get into. So I love that so much. I love your story. I think it's amazing.
Thank
So
you.
I want to thank you so much for coming on here and sharing this with me. And with everybody listening. So I guess now I want to give you the floor and tell us how we can support you. What can we do? Promote away. Just tell us what we can do to support you.
Well, I would just love it if you followed me on Instagram. It's Wendy_Rimmelspacher. I have 2 accounts. One I don't use, and I shorten my last name on that one. So you want the one with the full last name, Wendy_Rimmelspacher. I'm also on Facebook under Wendy Sexton Rimmelspacher. And I also have a website. It's wendyrimmel.com. And you can go there and just check and see what I'm doing and what I'm offering. And I would just love to connect with you, DM me or message me, either way. Let's chat. If I can help you, I would be happy to just have a quick chat with you and give you some ideas and get you moving forward on something to get out of the autopilot rut you might be feeling today.
Awesome. Awesome. So everybody go follow Wendy_Rimmelsbacher on Instagram. Go to her website, check it out. I love it so much. I want to thank you again for being here, for sharing your story. So final thing, just want to be clear, I'm planning on posting this on Instagram, and it will eventually go up on YouTube so that it's easier to find than Instagram. So I just want to make sure, do I have your permission to post this video?
Yes, you do. And I couldn't be more thankful, Kari, for what you're doing. It's so important. I've been listening to your presentations here on Instagram Live, and you are just, you're a bright light, and I just applaud you for taking steps to do this. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you so much. But again, I'm like you. I feed off of other people and their energy, and you brought so much good energy today. So thank you. And thank you to everybody listening. Again, go follow Wendy. Tune in. If you missed this, it'll be on replay on my Instagram grid. Eventually, it'll get up on YouTube. They're rolling out here. So thank you again, Wendy, so much. Good luck to you in your speaking profession. You're Wendy 2.0. I love it. So again, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.